Hey everybody, it's Felicia Stitzel with Vintage Wine Marketing, and welcome to today's Wine Wednesday. So today I wanted to talk about something kind of a piggyback on what I had talked about last week, and that was print versus digital. So today I'm going to be talking about visibility and the importance of visibility as well as what you're doing to be visible. I took my mom to do an official wine tasting when we were in Seattle in June, and this was her first time actually doing a wine tasting in a major wine region. And when we pulled into the downtown Woodinville area and she saw rows and rows, almost strip malls of tasting rooms, she looked over at me and was like, how on earth is anybody supposed to choose a winery when there's so many options? I mean, she was overwhelmed by it. So it was a little different for me because I had done the research to know exactly where I wanted to do my tastings at. But for the general public, that's not always the case. And so when you're in a heavily inundated area for wineries, what do you do as a consumer? Now there are apps out there, like there's a really great new app that's out there called Wine Routes, and there are wine maps that you can do. You can find and pick up a local magazine that can show you. But what do you do as far as visibility goes? How, when you're literally elbow to elbow with your neighbors, who is also a winery and a tasting room, how are you seen? How do you stand out amongst the crowds? Do you do standalone flyers like this? Do you get into a magazine kind of like this? What do you do? So when I was working as a marketing manager for wineries, one of the conversations that we had was even to the extent of billboard ads. Now, in some areas that may be more relevant, why wouldn't you spend money on something that you can actually see how efficient it is versus hoping and praying that the person who walks into the tasting room tells you that they saw your billboard ad on the side of the highway. So I was reading through an article this morning, and it says that according to HubSpot, 92% of marketers indicate that their social media efforts have generated more exposure for their businesses, while 80% of their marketers indicate that the social media efforts have increased their traffic. So exposure versus traffic. Obviously, that comes with name branding and getting your awareness that you're out there. But of course, traffic is where we want to be as wineries and for the marketers of wineries. So major companies are starting to really see that doing the print, like we talked about last week, print versus digital, they're starting to see that you can't track print or even print outlets, magazine or newspaper website. Even though it's online, it's still not being able to track the amount of traffic that comes through. They can do an average of impressions, which of course we talked about impressions is not exactly as accurate as it would be for if they were giving you a reach number. Whereas with social media, the reason why 92 and 80% of marketers say that social media is better is because you can track it. And that's the beautiful thing, is if before you were doing things like this, you never knew. Unless there was an ad or a deal or a coupon in there that said, hey, bring this in and we will give you X, Y, and Z of a discount. Well, now we can do that, but it's trackable and it's digital. These are just some things that I wanted you to kind of think about as you're moving forward in the progression of this social media and digital age that we live in. Now, like I said, I'm very old school when it comes to this. I like having the paper stuff. I like taking these things home with me. But I'm a one percenter in that aspect. Most people, they specifically use their phones. And they only use their phones to find locations, to see what kind of wines, reviews, offers, deals. I mean, the list goes on and on. So if you apply your mentality of wanting to be seen, wanting to increase your traffic, and you want it in a way that is going to be the most relevant to this day and age, I would definitely suggest that social media, if you haven't done it before, at least try it. Give it a 3-month trial. I mean, you can do a lot in 30 days, but you're going to see a lot more accurate numbers as far as revenue and turnaround coming within 3 months. Every winery has their own goals on what they want to achieve by the end of the year. How many sales, how much traffic, how many wine club members. Everybody has an estimated number. And of course, social media, the beautiful thing about it is that you can adapt and convert the plan to reflect on what your overall goals and desires are for your business and for the winery. So if you ever have any questions about that, please feel free to let me know. I love answering questions. And thank you for tuning in to this week's Wine Wednesday, the tips and tricks of the trade. I'll see you guys next week.